Other breaking news that's also emerging right now, this time out of Washington. A woman says the president's U.S. Supreme Court nominee, Brett Kavanaugh, assaulted her when she and Kavanaugh were both in high school. CNN's Jessica Schneider is joining us right now. So, Jessica, first of all, what do we know about this woman and what she says about Kavanaugh, what he allegedly did?
Yeah, Wolf, a vehement denial from Brett Kavanaugh, and it all revolves around this decades-old assault allegation. So it comes from a woman who knew Brett Kavanaugh in high school in the 1980s, and her allegations are coming to light now because she recently wrote a letter to her congresswoman in California. That letter was then passed on to the top Democrat on the Senate Judiciary Committee, Dianne Feinstein. So here's what was detailed in the letter. This is according to a source familiar with this letter. So it was in the early 1980s when this woman attended a party in Maryland with Brett Kavanaugh and other high schoolers. She says Kavanaugh physically pushed her into a bedroom at that party, and along with another male, Kavanaugh allegedly locked the door and played loud music, which the accuser says precluded her from being heard when she yelled for help. So this woman says both of these men were drunk, and she says Kavanaugh allegedly tried to take off her clothes and also allegedly had his hand over her mouth. And at one point, because of this, the accuser says she feared for her life, but she was finally able to leave the room and she eventually left the party. Now, there's no indication that this woman ever reported this incident to law enforcement. She says, however, that she, in the years since, has received medical treatment. So all of this came to light because Senator Feinstein revealed yesterday that she handed this letter with these allegations over to the FBI. And I've been told that the letter has been put in Kavanaugh's background file, but there is no criminal investigation here. So meanwhile, today, Brett Kavanaugh issuing a statement where he strongly denies these allegations. So this is the brief but terse statement he released this morning. He said, "I categorically deny this allegation. I did not do this back in high school or at any time." And of course, the White House has continually maintained that Kavanaugh was thoroughly vetted. And Republicans, in fact, are circulating this letter here. It's a letter signed by 65 women, front and back here, who knew Brett Kavanaugh when he attended high school between 1979 and 1983. All of them say that the Brett Kavanaugh they know behaved honorably, treated women with respect, Wolf, and they say in the 35 years they've known him, he's always treated women with respect. So the question is here, will this have any impact on the vote on this nomination? We know the Senate Judiciary scheduled to vote on this on Thursday, and then it will move to the full Senate. But of course, that will be the last week in September. But Wolf, two crucial senators for that vote, Republicans Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski. So could this decades-old allegation influence their vote at all? We know that Senator Collins has a pre-scheduled phone call with Brett Kavanaugh today. That is still set to happen. So we'll see whether or not this letter, these allegations have any effect. But of course, Brett Kavanaugh strongly denying anything to this effect. Wolf?
All right, Jessica, thanks very much. Laura Coates, Carrie Cordero, let's get your quick analysis. What do you think?
Well, this reminds you a lot of the 1991 confirmation hearings involving Anita Hill, doesn't it, with then candidate or nominee Clarence Thomas, where it alleged at the late hour. This one does have that political feel to it, but more importantly, note the number of times you had to say allegations. The fact that it was not reported will have an impact on the ultimate voting strength of this nomination, and it really should. But it's one that's surprising that it's happening late in the game, and I think she's trying to avoid the Joe Biden effect, which happened when he failed to bring forth witnesses in that hearing.
Well, the big difference, though, of course, is that we know who Anita Hill was, and she appeared in person. This is an anonymous allegation, and I just think it's so important to emphasize that this person, at least in the article that's been written so far in the New Yorker, has not been identified. She has sent a letter, but she is not willing so far to speak publicly. And so with Judge Kavanaugh denying the allegation so strongly, we'll have to wait and see if there's any other credibility behind what right now is simply an anonymous allegation.
We'll stay on top of this. We'll stay on top of all the breaking news.